Hey everybody, today we are talking about Naomi by Jun'ichirō Tanizaki. This book, Naomi, also had another name that was A Fool's Love when it was translated into English. And I think A Fool's Love is actually a wonderful title for this, as is Naomi, because this book is all about her. It is actually in the first person, with a man named Joji is the main character. He's the one that is speaking the story, and he is telling us a story about his wife, Naomi, and how he wasn't always married to her. He met her when she was only 15 and he was 28. So this is an age gap story. And he first discovered her working at like this cafe, and just the way that she looked was so beautiful, and she had Western features in her face and her hips. Her body just seemed like it had Western features, and that was very appealing to him, and he thought that he could take her away out of this place and mold her into a amazing woman, and not only beautiful but smart, and just the whole package. And he couldn't get this idea out of his head, so eventually he actually asks her if he would, or if she would be willing to come and live with him, first as friends. That was his pitch, was like, we would just be friends. I would be kind of your mentor. I would take care of you. We'd live together. You would also help me with some house things, and I would in return teach you how to speak English. I'd get you lessons. The more that he learned about her, he learned that she also was interested in music, so he would also get her music lessons and could just really shape her into this refined Japanese woman that was the most beautiful he'd ever seen. And this is set in the 1900s, the early 1900s, when dancing was just starting to become a kind of forbidden thing, but also an exciting thing that people would want to do. And it was happening in Japan. They had these clubs, and they were getting taught how to dance in the Western style of dancing. And a lot of this book revolves around that aspect as well, and how Naomi wanted to become a dancer, and Joji says, okay, we'll do it together. And so they end up going there, and that's kind of where the story starts to unravel a little bit, get a little intense, because Naomi is like friends with these men that are actually her age, and Joji does not know about this. He's actually surprised to learn that she knows all these people that she's apparently been meeting when he's been at work. And this is understandable. This is actually a few years later, so now when they first were building a life together, and it was great, it was wonderful, it was fun, it was everything that Joji wanted. And then when the lessons started with the English, he found out that she wasn't super good at it, and it really frustrated him. So then there was this anger and these fights that they would have. So like they'd go through typical relationship type things. When she was 16, that's about the time that the two of them decided to marry. So now Naomi kind of pictures him as a father and a husband because of the age gap. And when this dancing phenomenon starts happening, she's 19 now, and so I think that makes him 32, if my math's right, 31, 32, in that area. And this is, like I said, this is kind of where things start, where there's trouble in paradise, where Naomi's still a kid. She's an adult now, but she's still very young, and she wants to live and to party and enjoy herself and enjoy men, being around friends and different people, and she's kind of a manipulator to try to get what she wants. She wants to live in luxury. She has Joji buy her all these really beautiful kimonos so that she's wearing a different one every day, and if she gets tired of one, then she expects Joji to buy her a new one, and it creates this kind of hardship on their financials because she wants extravagance, and she tells Joji, you said that you would give me whatever I wanted, that's why we agreed to this, you said you would make everything perfect for me. And So we can kind of see this immaturity in Naomi because she's still growing up and learning who she wants to be and how she wants to act, and she doesn't want to be this traditional wife that stays at home and cooks and cleans and does all the maidly services and things like that, and that's kind of what Joji was hoping for, in creating this perfect wife and molding her to be what he wants her to be. And so even though Naomi has all these things that he starts to discover about her, about how maybe he can't mold her into what she was supposed to be, and it starts to make him think like, maybe I can't handle this, maybe I shouldn't be with this woman because she doesn't know how to behave. And there's all these events that I'm not going to share so that you can have your own experience in reading it, but a lot of things that made this woman appealing to him was not only just her features, but also her name. Having this 3-syllable name was very different and kind of unique, and so that automatically just kind of made her seem exotic and unique and different and foreign because of her Western features. And so Joji just really got it bad for her, and that's why I'm saying that A Fool's Love was also a really good title for this book, because this love that Joji has for Naomi really does just take hold of him and kind of makes him into a fool at times. He doesn't know how to react in the best way in some of these situations that Naomi puts him in, and the things that he's willing to do for her or because of her are very different than what he probably would have done if he had not gotten involved with her. There was this nickname that he got in the office where he worked, the gentleman, because he was always on time, always did his work promptly, well. He was very respectable. He was a really decent young man. And slowly but surely, he starts to not show up for work as much, take more days off, start to get kind of a reputation around the office that is not the gentleman anymore, where he's just changing because this woman in his life is causing him all of these different emotions. And so we kind of just experience things in his perspective where he admits in his account of their marriage and their life, he even admits, like, in it, that he is doing things that he wouldn't normally do. Like, he's self-aware that he's going crazy over this woman. Like, and at some points he is not as aware, or he just doesn't know how to cope with his feelings that Naomi is making him feel because of whatever she did this time. I liked this book because it makes you, there's some relatable things in there when it comes to like marriage and learning how to live with somebody else and their habits, and how Naomi has her own that are unexpected to him, that she had these qualities that he didn't think she would have, just because of the way he was so impressed by her when he met her when she was 15. But I mean, that's such a young age. He really did think he could mold her into being this wonderful, elegant woman. And it's just, there's only so much you can do. You can't completely change somebody else's personality and the way they want to live and be and how they want to discover themselves. And she just happened to be one of those people that wasn't as easily molded into this type of person that Joji wanted her to become. And so he's just faced with these decisions that he has to make of, do I continue to stay with her and try to mold her who I want her to be, or do I let her be who she wants to be and I accept this of her? And so he really has to try to just look at things of like, what's in my control and what's not in my control. And it's just because it's set in the 1900s, there's that aspect of it where women were treated differently then, and it was expected that they would do certain things. And now it's not so much that way, where we can do certain things and it's like, oh yeah, that's normal for a woman to do, whereas back then it wasn't normal for a woman to do, and or certain things they did were perceived as not okay, that now it is like, well, why not? Why isn't it okay? So there's also that I liked about it, because it was written in the time that it was written. You could see the differences from if this book was written now. It would be, there's a lot of wordage, a lot of vocabulary that probably wouldn't be used in the same way that was used in this book, and really just because of time and the time of place that it was written, and because of the time that it was written in. So but yeah, overall I quite liked it. It's not a super long book. It's like 237 pages or something like that, so it's actually pretty quick to get through, and it's just, like I said, there's some stuff that's relatable, but there's also stuff that's just interesting to read about because it's different from the world we live in now. So it's just kind of nice to read something that's not the same thing every time, like the stuff that we have now. It's just, I'm sure you can agree, like the literature from this time is different in the way it's written, the writing style, just there's so much that's different about it than things that are written today. And that's why I like reading stuff that's been recently released and then going back to reading things that are more considered like classics, like Japanese classics and things like that. So if any of this sounded interesting to you, give it a read and let me know how you feel about it, about this crazy love story with this crazy age gap back in the 1900s. But yeah, anyways, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.